I'm going to go ahead and turn on the recorder because we're going to be putting this on YouTube, even though this show is not going to go on the air. So I have been, as you know, doing the show since 2011, and little by little, the show has gone worldwide. We have listeners from all over the world, and it just makes my heart sing whenever I see somebody from, England and Jordan and of course Jacksonville and Missouri, and we have listeners from Malaysia. Yvonne is on from Malaysia. Thank you, Yvonne, for tuning in. And so there are so many different ways. When I say worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com, the show has gone worldwide, and I am so thrilled to bring this information. But here's the thing. I have missed during the show from my own backyard. I live in Brevard County, and there's a lot of things happening in Brevard County. And so I made the decision not to air from the station in Brevard County, and I started focusing on Facebook Live, which we can manipulate that. We can promote the show in Brevard County and have people hear what's happening. Although, because we're live and we're on Facebook at Lillian's radio show, for those of you who will watch later on YouTube, because we're live on Facebook, we get interaction. Maybe this show will prompt an idea from a local community. Maybe this show will make you want to say, okay, I want to help. So these shows, once in a while, they're going to be on Thursdays. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about people who are making a difference locally in our own backyard in Brevard County in Florida. For those of you who don't know where Brevard County is, it's where the rockets go up, where the port is, where all these beautiful things, the beaches in Brevard County are. And so normally when I do the show, we have breaks. There's not going to be any breaks. There's no need for breaks because we are going to be live. And so I just wanted to give you this little intro. So this is going to be a Facebook face-to-face with David Brubaker. And I am so excited because just recently I made the decision. I said, okay, so I can start with, hello, my listening friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on Facebook and YouTube, because I'm going to have to modify this whole thing. But the reality is that the whole plan, the whole purpose of the show is to share and grow together. The person who started the show is not the same person who is here before you today. I've learned new truths, and these new truths have become part of my life. And I encourage all of you, as you're learning new truths as well, to verify them. Just because I believe it doesn't mean you have to believe it, and I'm okay. I'm okay if you have a difference of opinion. I'm sure we have 99% in common, and let's not focus on our differences. And so that's the platform of the show. So what happened was, just recently, I went into a thrift store because my goddaughter said there was a thrift store right next to Home Depot, between Home Depot and Ross in Merritt Island. I said, get out. They don't exist. So she said, they do. And I said, well, they're probably closed. No. But it stayed within me. It stayed within me. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go check it out. I went in there and I bought some stuff. And the people were kind. And I said, well, where's this money going to? I just want to make sure I knew where the money was going through. And so then I found out who I needed to call because I wanted to find out a little bit more. And I had already started thinking about doing the live and local. And guess who's here? Well, in comes David Brubaker, who's the CEO of the Sharing Center. And prior to this, I went on a tour. Paula Rebman showed me the area, and I fell in love with not just the people that were there, but with the concept. We have forgotten to help one another. Not to enable somebody, but to help them get through tough times. So today, David Brubaker, the CEO of Sharing Center of Central Brevard, is going to talk about how we can help plant the seeds of hope that they have already planted. But if we all plant the seeds together, And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I'm so grateful that David Brubaker is here to do just that. Welcome, David, to the Lillian McDermott radio show / classroom.
Lillian, thank you so much for having me on your show. I really appreciate the opportunity. And when you reached out and started talking about your discovery of our organization through our thrift operation, I was even more excited because I love to see people connect with us in any way. But that you went in there and found that gem of a store,
Yes.
as you said, at the Home Depot Plaza on Merritt Island, really sticks true. So thank you for having me here. And again, the Sharing Center is something so near and dear to my heart. I mentioned to you that it's my 16th year being a member of this staff and this great organization as of this Sunday on the 31st. So I'm ever so humbled by that. But the Sharing Center itself was a 501c3 organization that's celebrating its 40th year. I think that really speaks volume.
Yes.
Our mission is to provide emergency assistance to those in our community who struggle with life's most basic needs. And I really define that as something really simple that people can understand it. We're all about the food on your table, the shirt on your back, and the roof over your head. That's what we help people obtain or sustain every day that we're open here at the Sharing Center. So our mission is really valuable to those who really struggle, as you had said, to make ends meet.
Well, that's, such a wonderful and admirable, and I do want to focus in on emergency care here. But before we do that, I want to go back and ask you, tell us a little bit about yourself, other than the 16 years that you've been with the Sharing Center of Central Brevard. But tell us about your life prior to that. Has it been service-oriented? Has it always been service-oriented?
That's a great question. I was raised as a Navy military brat, so service is kind of instilled within our blood in the Brubaker household. But growing up as a Navy brat, moved a lot of different places, 13 different places in 17 years. And then I joined the Air Force, served this great nation for 4 years, and most of it overseas. Oh, it's a pleasure. Learned a lot, grew up a lot during that time. Found my way back. I spent most of it in Europe on top of a mountain where it snowed 8 months out of the year. So I found my way back to this place called Merritt Island, where my parents had relocated after my dad retired from the Navy. And so they took me back in and sent me back to school. And I decided I'd use what's between my ears and not my back as much, and found a great journey that's put me on here. But really, a common Joe. I love Florida. I love being here. I love our weather. I love all the eco things we can do. I'm an avid bird watcher, and I love to whittle wood. So I really am a simple person. I take pride on that. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. And then through tragedy, I found my way back to going to church on a regular basis. I had lost my mom in '99, and my wife and I, celebrating our 30th year anniversary. I love those big numbers. So this year, my wife and I found ourselves wanting to give back. And so through our church, we found the Sharing Center, and we were literally volunteering for the Sharing Center for a couple of years at different special events, whether it be a walk to raise funds, or working out of the Space Center to collect food, or selling pizza at a car show. Whatever they asked, I really wanted to do. But I really connected with the organization and the folks within it. And so they approached me. I was in the sales and marketing position, and they approached me and wanted me to come on board to be their resource development / assistant director back in 2003. And so I prayed about it, and we took that leap right into the nonprofit world. So it's really shocking going from profit world to the nonprofit world. But when the dust settled, I really felt that I could make a difference in regards to hard work and dedication for this organization. And it really has paid off through the years. As you said, I'm the CEO now, but I'm ever so humble with that. You can call me anything but late for dinner. I'm part of a great team here that really does amazing work here. And so that's me in a nutshell, Rotarian. And so that's my way of giving back outside of the Sharing Center, and a active member of my church. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. I'm a Rotarian too, but
Awesome.
I've not attended a meeting in a long time. Maybe I should go back to one of these meetings. So let's go back now. You said that the Sharing Center of Central Brevard, excuse me. So what happens when you're doing something like,
you're good.
excuse me. has been around for 40 years. Share a little bit how it got started. Well,
So you're good. The Sharing Center actually was originated by local churches. So a number of group churches came together to meet needs of people that they saw falling through the safety nets of government programs. And so they got together and they formed the Sharing Center itself and literally started in a little shopping mall up near the end of Cocoa Village at the turnaround circle there. Mm-hmm. And we were there until 1989, and that's when we purchased this property at 113 Aurora Street in Cocoa. And we have been on this property ever since. This property was a church, a school, Knights of Columbus, and then it became the Sharing Center in 1989. And so I know that's 30 years because that's the same year I got married. So you don't ever forget that that year unless you don't want to go home at night. Yeah. So that's how we got started, literally by local churches. But they got so busy with the mission, and it was really taking over a lot of the things that they were doing, and they wanted to form this 501c3 organization. So in 1978, it came official as a 501c3, and literally where they were helping 300 or 400 people a year when they first started, and now we help over 20,000 people in a year's time. So.
That's amazing. And I want to say, when Paula was taking me around, I didn't know who was a volunteer and who was an employee. Yeah. I didn't know. And I love the dignity that you keep in the center. You call the people who need assistance your clients, and it's run like a business. So well done, thy good and faithful servant.
Thank you.
So let's talk about the mission. Let's talk about the purpose of the center and what you talked about emergency assistance, but there's a lot more than you guys do. So let's talk about the mission.
So our mission really is a stopgap. It is a point in time where people are struggling to get through a stopgap time, whether it's a week, a month, 3 months, or it could be a year. It really could be. But so we have some programs in place that can help an immediate need. And then we also have some things that, we can help them in a long term as well if they want to change their life. And, we have an opportunity for that. But really the folks that come here right now, they're coming literally, I don't have food to put on my table. Can you help me out with basic needs as food? Food is a major issue. Hunger and food insecurity is a major issue here in not only in our county, but our state, but our country as well. And it's kind of hard to believe, knowing that how much of the abundance of things that we have, that people are still going hungry every day. So we have a food pantry program. Today we helped over 30 families with emergency food. So we provide 3 to 5 days worth of food every 60 days. So it is truly a stopgap program. It is not going to get you through a long point of time, but it's going to get you through the next few days. And so we partner with many different organizations. In fact, today I was talking to the postal carriers because in May they have a postal carriers food drive. And so we'll be at Cocoa Beach collecting food that day at their post office. So we're coordinating that. We do the Boy Scout food drive, which is the Scouting for Food national effort in the first weeks of November. We take that on as well. And then we work with Second Harvest Food Bank in regards to the Grocery Alliance program. So literally we go around to all the grocery stores in our area and we get leftover produces and meats and breads and pastries, and we incorporate that into our programs. And so that's primarily, and we also grant. Let's not forget about grant writing. So we go out and we search for funds where people have the money to help us pay for food. And so we search that out. So we have that emergency food pantry program that's available. We also have, now I want to focus on the Central Brevard residents because that's where we serve, Central Brevard. But if you're not from Central Brevard and you come knock on our door, we're not going to say no. Okay. We do have a program where anybody can show up from who doesn't live here and they can receive an allotment of food. And that is a government commodity program that we also deal with Second Harvest. Second Harvest is such a community partner with ours because of the Grocery Alliance and things like that. I mean, literally we have a mini produce stand every day at the sharing center. We put produce out every morning starting at 8 o'clock, and by around 11 it's usually gone, and we have 20 to 30 to sometimes even as 50 people coming by, picking up a box, picking up the produce that would have been thrown away by the grocery stores, but it's just as good. My mom used to say, you take that tomato, you cut the bruise out, is just as good to eat and serve. And so that's our philosophy. We don't want anybody going hungry when they come on our property. So we have that program, and that's very special to us. And then we also have a community kitchen where we serve a hot meal Monday through Saturday from 11 to 1 here on property. We average feeding over 130 people a day. Mm-hmm. We also probably feed about 20 kids a day. We don't count them as our clients, but they come along with the guardians or the parents. So we feed them. And then we do a bag lunch on Sunday. So every day of the year, you can come to the sharing center and receive a meal. You could receive some food, because all of our excess, whether it be eggs or milk or produce, or like I said, pastries and breads, that's all put out for folks to take home with them. And so that's one of the great things. And then another program that I'm really proud of, we're entering our 9th year this year. It's our Children's Weekend Backpack Program. And the premise is that there are children, 1 in 4 children in Brevard County will go home tonight and not receive a nutritious meal for dinner. Mm-hmm. And so the only places that they're receiving that nutrition is at school. So what do they do when they're away from school? So we started in 2010 a pilot program bringing bags of food to the local elementary schools for the kids, the neediest kids and their families, to take home. It's enough food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a family of 4 based on a 2-day period. So we made sure that these families aren't going hungry. And so we started out with 20 bags a week. We now do 135 bags a week. The average cost is about $10. And as I challenge any frugal shopper to try and feed a family of 4 for breakfast, lunch, and dinner on $10. And if you can do it, I want to know your formula, because we know we do it, but we do it really super smart. And so it's real important for us to be able to do that.
It's amazing that in such a short period of time, I don't even know how long you had been speaking, all the things that you are doing, that the group, the community is doing. So let's talk about some of the statistics. I mean, you talked about 130 people a day, 3 to 5 days of food, and that's every 60 days. Let's talk about the fruits of your labor. And I know that you have a brochure that highlights the fruits of your labor.
Yeah.
All the things that you guys are doing in the community, as far as how many people have benefited. And I want to say that I am so grateful that they're not throwing away food, because they were throwing away food. I'm just glad that you guys talked them out of throwing them away, because it became illegal to do that. They used to do it, and then maybe somebody got sick, and then somebody sued, and then they stopped.
Yeah.
And then they just started throwing things away. So I'm glad that you guys are benefiting. So that benefit, how has it benefited you?
Well, I wanted to just recap on that relationship with Second Harvest Food Bank, because they're the ones who actually go out and do the negotiation with the grocery stores, and then they kind of assign us a territory. But in order for us to do that, we had to raise $40,000 to get a refrigerated truck. So that's part of that liability and that you might have been mentioning, that that's why they stopped doing it, because they weren't quite sure how it was being handled. So literally we had to go out and get a freezer truck, a walk-in refrigerator, a walk-in freezer. So we've invested in regards to that and to build our capacity in order to even participate in that program. But that's really important. But so getting back to the original question, it's so important for us to be able to meet the need of those who are coming to us. And so we really had to start thinking outside the box on how we could look at different avenues on how we could better serve. And one of the best things about that relationship is that, for example, we don't give the canned meats anymore. I used to have like the mystery meat can. It literally had a pork, a cow, a pig, a chicken on it.
Yeah.
And we always used to kind of roll our eyes a little bit about that. And we were happy to give that out. But now we're actually giving away pounds of hamburger and chicken and all these things that just don't go to waste anymore. And that's a huge savings. So we garnish over 25,000 pounds of food from the grocery stores a month. And we average providing food for over 1,000 people per month. These are duplicated numbers, and as you were mentioning the stats and things like that. Last year we serviced over 15,000 people in just the emergency food program alone. We served 47,000 meals through our kitchen program, and thousands of bags of food to the children's homes on the weekends through the school. So the stats are really huge for us. So last year, in total weight of food that we distributed was more than 500,000 pounds of food. So
Wow.
the stats that are even in this brochure need to be updated because they're about 2 years old. And we've really grown pretty exponentially since then in regards to being able to connect the people with the food itself. And just to say, none of our services have a fee. We don't charge for anything. We just want to collect good data so that when we go out and talk about the need, we want to be able to prove it to people. So we do a lot of really good data collection.
Okay, so with that in mind, at the beginning, you were very specific. You said, we provide emergency assistance.
Right.
Now, an emergency is something that happens and it could happen at any moment. How long do you allow your clients to return? Because, I'm working on a show now about how millennials have an entitlement kind of attitude. And I'm saying not everybody's like that. Right. And not everybody that is in these are just trying to get a handout. There are a lot of people that want to improve. So how long do you allow people to keep coming back and to continue?
Well, we don't really have an end to it.
Okay.
But we do have limits to how much they can receive, and you mentioned the timing factor. So food is available every 60 days.
Okay.
You could actually come back every 30 days and receive the government commodities allotment if so desired. Clothing, we have an abundant amount of clothing. And I'm so thankful for the kindness and generosity of others that keeps us flowing with those great donations. So someone can actually come in every 30 days and receive a certain number of garments if they're in need. Household goods, things like whether it's sheets or dishes or a baby wash station or silverware or plates or whatever you might need in regards to that. First off, if we have it, and everything we give away is donated to us. So if we have it, we'll share it. And you can come in every 6 months for that. Once a year in regards to our financial assistance program. So we do get monies through FEMA that help pay for rent and utilities and mortgage payments. And although it's limited, it's about a pot of about $25,000 a year. People are eligible to come back once a year and apply for those funds. They can come by every 2 months and can receive a health kit, which is basically anything you find in your bathroom that you would need for any type of hygiene items and things like that, whether it be shampoo, deodorant, toothbrush, toothpaste, things like that. So that kind of gives you an idea of the time frame. And then we don't have any timing on things like if there was an emergency flood, fire. I had somebody in here who was through a fire and they needed a bed, and we were able to give them a bed today because someone had given us a bed. So literally sharing it, we're the conduit of sharing here. I love that. We learned that so well as a kid, to learn to share our toys and play well with others. And I often say that, well, as adults, we do the same thing. It's just, I encourage you to things that you haven't used in a year, donate them because I'll find a good home for it, kind of thing. So that's really, that keeps us going. But yeah, so our furniture, our department, we go by case, individual case by case, whether it's a domestic violence relocation or a flood or fire. After the hurricanes, man, we were really hit up hard. We also work with other agencies where we give furniture when they're relocating a family in a housing program to a permanent house, and if they need furniture for that, we will give them the furniture. In fact, we'll actually deliver the furniture on behalf of the Sharing Center to their front door because we're so excited to be part of a program where someone's getting back to self-sufficiency again. So it's exciting to be part of that process.
Yeah. I interviewed many years ago a man named Willie Barney, and Willie had a problem with the people that would beg in the streets and ask for money. And he could not, he was angry. And one day he rolled down the window and he said, "How much do you want for that sign?" And the guy said, $10. And so Willie gave him 10. He said, and he took the sign away because he couldn't stand seeing, I'm homeless type sign.
Mm-hmm.
And it was through his own getting to know this person. This person was an incredible person, just had, something was going on in his life at the time. And Willie realized that, and what I learned from Willie was that we're all homeless and that we all don't want to look at that feeling of homelessness within us. We're all afraid of something.
Right.
We're afraid of being there. Is there anything that you would like for us to know about people that are homeless, that people that come to the Sharing Center of Central Brevard? What would you like for us to know so that we can identify as well, like Willie,
Sure.
and this man that he, and now he goes from coast to coast buying signs, and he does art with it. He's an artist.
That's pretty awesome.
Yes.
That's a great story. So obviously we see a lot of that over here on the Space Coast in Brevard County. As I mentioned earlier, I've lived in this area for more than 30 years, and I've seen a huge increase on it. And that's why I carry this with me. And I get out of my car and I approach them and introduce them myself, because one, we have to remember these are people. They're no better or no worse than we are, except for probably they just don't have the support system that some of us have. And so they need some support. So I introduce the Sharing Center to them. I let them know that if they want to change their life and they want to better their position, that I would personally help them through that, through the resources that we have. But I personally extend my personal involvement to them, and let them know if you really want to change, there's a change. If you need a place to stay tonight, I can find you a place to stay tonight. If you want to learn how you're going to get off any type of addiction, I can lead you to the people who can help you with that. If you want to, if you're a veteran and you're not getting connected with your services, you come to the Sharing Center. We'll literally collect your mail. We'll sign you a mailbox here, and we'll get your mail sent here so that you can reconnect with any services or any type of benefit that you have. Not only that, we'll literally drive you to the VA, or we'll have someone from the VA. We'll call, so we'll help you work through this. But I have to always explain to these people that this has to come from within. That change, I can only lead the horse to the water, but I can't make it drink it. You have to want to drink. You have to want to make the change. And so that's what I tell them. And some of them just look at me like, man, I just need a meal today. And I'm like, well, if you go to the Sharing Center, we will feed you, not just today, but every day if you need it, and such as that. And so, I'm glad that you had mentioned the homelessness, because it is something that really affects not only our community. When you see someone like that on the side of the road, it really makes you think. And a lot of us, especially on our way to work or on our way home, we've got those blinders on and we're focusing about what our daily life is, and we don't look at the big picture. Sure. Sometimes you just have to, if you just reach out and talk to these people and you realize that, again, they're putting their pants on the same way we do every morning. They're people. And if you can just talk to them on not on a level where you're looking down at them, but at a level of where you're just shaking their hand and showing some care, and it'll open up their eyes a little bit, and it'll kind of break down those walls. And I always tell people, if you have these walls in your life that you're struggling to get over, I said, I can help you break through the wall, get over the wall, go around the wall, whatever it is to get to the other side of the wall. I can help you with this, but you have to be the lead on that.
They have to take the first step.
Yeah. And so I'm always excited to say that. I've had some great results. I've had some people who haven't taken me up on it, who are still there on the corner every day. And, but I don't want to shame them or put them in a position.
It's about informed choice. You're giving them a choice. You're saying there are options. Many of us don't want to know what's out there because we want to live in the way that we want to live. And I get that all the time. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Well, the show is about learning new truths. And so part of that is overcoming our objection that we are enough. We are enough.
Sure.
And because of that, it's not that I'm entitled and I want you to just give me, because that's not going to last very long.
No.
But to know that I am enough to figure this out. Yes, I am having a difficult time now. And yes, I do need some help. And how can I get out of this? And I think that the fear of failure keeps us paralyzed and not even wanting to perceive that this is a failure, or maybe saying I am a failure and I'm always going to be a failure. So it's like, we've got to just sit down and really bridge that gap of whether I have a roof over my head and you don't have a roof over your head. And I love that. And I must tell you, when Paula was taking me around, I was truly impressed of the people that were there. But what shocked me the most, and I would say I almost broke into tears, were the kids.
Yeah.
You say you serve about 30 kids a day, between 20 to 30 kids a day.
Yeah. So children are, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, well, children aren't allowed to come in and apply for service. So they have to be here on property with a guardian of some sort.
Sure.
We count their statistics when they come through on a application for food and things like that. But when they come in to eat a meal, we don't capture that demographic information. We do count how many children are there, and we can have as many as 50 during the day during the summer months when school is out. But yeah, like I said, children are the innocent victims of poverty.
Absolutely.
They're put themselves there over nothing that they've done, but yet they're dealing with the exact same situations that the adults are dealing with. And so we have a really huge heart for children. We do shoes for kids returning to school.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Yes,
that's a love and a hope, a self-esteem program that we literally have volunteers go to the local schools, work with the counselors and the teachers and the principals to identify the need. And then we literally go get their shoe size, whether they're male or female, and we go out and buy the shoes. And the best part is the shoe angels get to actually put those shoes on the feet of those kids. And when you see the looks of those kids wearing, one, you're giving me something, and their shoes, and they're mine, and they're just so proud because not everybody has the same chance to go out and get new clothes and school supplies and things like that. And it can really be hurting a family's budget if they don't have the funds to do that, but yet it's still, part of what they need. And, as a kid, being a youngest of 5 in a military family, I always complained because we always got the generic of everything, right? Yeah. So I'm a 70s kid. I didn't get the Keds, or the Converse, right? But when I talked to my wife, who came from a broken family, who went and shopped at thrift stores when it came time to get new clothing. If it wasn't for the fire department bringing a Thanksgiving turkey, they wouldn't have had Thanksgiving. And I said, my parents weren't, they weren't poor, they were frugal, Yeah. So there's a whole difference. And I embrace that whole mentality now. I finally, as a kid, you don't get it. But as an adult, I was like, wow. So I have to think of all the parents that really want to give to their children, but they simply can't afford it because the fact of the matter is, and this is a hunger study that came out of Second Harvest Food Bank that states that 74% of all the families that knock on a food pantry door are having to make the hard decisions that month of whether they're going to pay their electric bill, their water bill, or they're going to have enough money to pay in regards to their rent. And so that's a huge issue right there. And as the economy is great, as things are moving and we see these record job numbers and we see unemployment so low, less people using food stamps and things like that, that's a great indicator that certain things are going well. But there's always going to be that 14, 15, 18% of all people in our county that are just struggling, and they're struggling to make ends meet. And it is a true fact that most families could not sustain more than a month, if less, with no income. Yeah. And then they would be knocking on the Sharing Center door.
Yeah, we are one paycheck away.
Right.
Many Americans, I don't know throughout the world, but in America, we are one paycheck away from being homeless or not being able to pay our bills. Yeah. So let's talk about your cold night shelter that you have. It's for what, men only?
Men and women.
Men and women.
But no
children.
No children.
No
right.
children.
So our cold night shelter. We've had it open here in this month of March. So when it gets to 45 degrees or less, we open our doors to the public. It starts at 6 p.m. at night, and we close the gates either when it's full, which is the capacity of 25 people, or at 9:30, 10 o'clock, somewhere in there, we'll close our gates for the night. We provide a hot meal. decaf coffee, hot cocoa, and then we put a movie on. We put mats out on and give them a blanket to sleep on, and primarily on very cold nights, especially with any kind of wet factor, we'll fill up by 7. In fact, most people are here waiting for the gates to open so that they can come in and get warm. And again, we don't vet the folks that come in here. That's why we don't allow children, because we don't want to put any children at risk. Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure that we provide a safe environment. So we don't have the children come in, but sadly enough, there are homeless children, and so. In fact, over 2,000 homeless children in Brevard County, according to Brevard Public Schools statistics. So there's actually more homeless kids than there are homeless adults, according to their census. Yeah. But we're the only consistent cold night shelter. We open every time when it's 45 degrees. We work with Brevard County Management, the police station, 211 Brevard, which is an information hotline. Mm-hmm. And then we also reach out to the hospitals as well so that they know that we're open. And if you can only imagine how happy our clients are to come and receive the space and a warm. Homeless people just don't sleep well. They just don't. They might grab a couple hours extra night. Just imagine just sleeping in your car or the woods or flopping on somebody's couch or however that's working. I actually knew somebody who was letting somebody sleep in their shed. I was like, can't you invite them in and, not in the shed, right? But mm-hmm. I've known it to happen. So these folks don't sleep really well. So when they come here, they grab something to eat and then they're out. And I tell you, they appreciate that that's a good 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this costs money. All of this costs money. And I know that with a thrift store, it's not just for the clients that are going there, but for those of us who would like to go and you're paying money with the money that the thrift stores make. Mm-hmm. And you have 3. You have one in Aurora Street in Cocoa, and you have another one in Merritt Island, which is the one I visited, as well as the Cocoa one. Right. And then the Wickham Road, that's 7720 North Wickham Road. Mm-hmm. And again, so I'll say 95 East Merritt Island, which is in Home Depot, between Home Depot and Ross and off of Courtney. And Aurora Street is off of 520. And they're beautiful places. And you would never know. You would think, okay, that you're just going to a place that has different kinds of clothing and furnishing. So what do you guys need? What does the Sharing Center of Central Florida need? I know you have an upcoming event, a fundraiser. Sure. But let's talk about the needs for volunteers, what I call talent, treasure, and time.
Well, I appreciate that. So, thanks for bringing that up. Our thrift stores are a really cool opportunity for people to support the Sharing Center.
Beautiful.
Not only everything that you see in our thrift stores are donated to us. Mm-hmm. So donations are something that really fuels the fire for our thrift store. So you can call 321-631-0306 and schedule a pickup. We service all of Central Brevard County, and we will send a truck out and pick up whatever you want to donate to us. So that's one way that folks can give. Mm-hmm. And then, also, this year it's going to take $1.1 million to get the Sharing Center within its budget. So we have to raise that much money for the Sharing Center. So the thrift stores really do help, because if we don't give it away, we can sell it for pennies on the dime, and then we can use that to help fuel us. So we're also a United Way agency, so the United Way helps us out tremendously. Mm-hmm. We have grants that we write, and then we depend a lot on donors. And so if anybody wanting to learn more about our organization, please go out to sharingcenter.org, and you can learn all about us. In fact, they can actually donate if they wanted to make a monetary donation right onto that website. I would love to do that. But we also have some special events. So we had a great 5K in January with a partnership with the Children's Hunger Project, where we raised $50,000 and split that money to help buy food for our children's weekend feeding program. But in just a week and a half, if that, on April 6th, we have our backyard barbecue contest, right? So that is taking place out at F. Burton Smith Park. It's a $15 to get in. It includes a meal and all the barbecue samplings you can get. We have over 15 teams right now, so that is huge for us. So we'll be having a huge crowd come and to F. Burton Smith Park, which is West Cocoa off of 520. As you are heading It's almost near the St. Johns River. So if you're heading west from Cocoa, or if you're coming from the Beeline, you'd be heading east. It's right past the St. John's on the right. So tickets are, again, $15 at the door, cash or credit. We've got a great band,
April
Just
6th.
Us.
That's Saturday, April 6th.
Yep, Saturday, April 6th, and it's open to the public. Our smokers and our cookers come in. They cook overnight. We have a big shindig there, and then we open it up to the public and put on a really great party. So I guarantee anybody who shows up there who loves barbecue, not only will you have your fill of barbecue, but I almost guarantee you'll walk away for that dinner we give you, and you'll be eating it that night because you're going to be so full from what we've got going on. We've got some great raffles, 50/50s. We'll have some vendors out there. So it really is a family fun shindig, and I would encourage everybody to come out. And if you want more information, again, you can go to sharingcenter.org on that as well.
Yes.
And so that's exciting. But yeah, those are the type of things that kind of fuel the fire. And so, I can't express the thanks for, letting us talk about, how we do things here. One thing I'm very proud of, and one thing on that event, 100% of the proceeds go to buy food for our children's weekend feeding program. 100%.
Yeah.
So last year, between the 5K and that event, we raised nearly $55,000. That all went to buy food for that program.
Amazing. It's amazing. And it's
It
great.
is.
It's great what you're doing. And so we talked about volunteers. You need volunteers
Always.
to come in. Donations, you could use donations. Is there anything that people don't think about? Because while I was there, Paula told me, we get a lot of peanut butter, but we don't get a lot of jelly.
Yeah,
we get a lot of canned veggies, but we don't get a lot of canned fruit. So let's talk about what you could use if people wanted to donate food.
So any type of non-perishable, and Paul is right. Sometimes we have hit and miss. As she might have said, we got a lot of peanut butter, not a lot of jelly. If anybody, it doesn't matter what age you are. If you're part of a group, an organization, corporation, church, whichever, and you want to hold a food drive for us, I will gladly come out and speak to the group and encourage you, what to give. But, any type of non-perishable, any type of dry good like pastas and beans and rices, the things that stretch on meals, those type of things we really we run through like water here. So anything along that line, I encourage, like I said, I've had some great results of some students who've come and said, I started a food drive on my block, and they would literally, parents would bring the back end of their car, and I would just so praise them for that, because it's such a great lesson to learn, and they're learning it so early. But I think that, we all know that our strength of our community is really the health of our community. And so if we do have some people that aren't as healthy, let's try and reach out to them and make them whole and give them the opportunity to be whole again. And sometimes I'll say it just like this: there's no one on this planet that has walked and got where they are at without ever having to ask for help. A lot of people have a hard time asking for help. Please don't. Please know that, there are people who want to help you, and there are people who want to help the ones that need to be helped. So let's all just come together and help each other, and we can make this such a better place to live by caring and sharing. I know it sounds corny, but that's what's survived, and kindness and generosity has made this organization survive for 40 years, and I'm sure it'll be going way past us when I'm gone from this organization. So I just ask people to get involved, and if you can't get involved with the Sharing Center, get involved with something. Yes. Get involved with a volunteer organization, or get involved with something. Give your time. Everybody has such valuable things to offer, whether it's their time or their talents. And the treasures come. Believe me, the treasures will come. But if you can get someone to get involved and give their time and talents, it makes the difference to many people on this earth. So that's a great lesson.
Absolutely. And for people that are listening that are outside, because we have listeners from all over the world, and followers as well, they may not have the Sharing Center of Central Brevard. They might have some other community.
Exactly.
And I told Paul I would love to go and help prepare food to do that. My family and I, we've done that in the past, where we come together, and our gift to one another for Epiphany is to create a meal for other people. And so would that be something that we could do as well in any Sharing Center, or any place that serves and the homeless?
Well, unfortunately, there are food banks in all communities because we're not on an island here. Hunger is a national and worldwide issue.
Yeah.
So wherever you are on this planet, reach out. It just takes a little investigation to find out what the sources are. Find that organization, touch them, and let them know that you want to serve. It is the most valuable thing that I think someone can give is their time. I find that once people do give time and they learn about situations, that it opens their eyes. They become more educated on the situation, and they find ways to help. And I do believe that the number one reason why people don't help is because people aren't being asked to help, or they don't know how to connect the dots on that. So wherever you are, find an organization such as the Sharing Center or something in your community where you can reach out and give.
It does make a difference. And for those of you who might be feeling anxiety, or might be feeling depression, or might be feeling isolated or alone, it's amazing how your mood will change when you start doing things for other people, when you realize you're not the only one that is going through difficult times. And, they say that the quickest way to end anxiety or depression is, if you're in the middle of experiencing it, just go outside, bring a broom, and sweep your neighbor's front yard, like the porch.
Yeah.
Do something for somebody else that will help you feel connected. And I think that is something that, that places that are 501c3s, communities that help, that's what we miss out on the most. We don't even know that we get more than we give. And I wish people would understand that, because the reason why people are depressed is because they don't know. And by the way, I heard the funniest expression. I was talking to one of my guests who's become a friend of mine, and I was saying, it's so difficult for me. I'm more than happy to do things for everybody, but when it comes to me, I have a hard time asking for help or whatever. And he said to me, "You know what, Lily? You need to become an ask-hole."
I might steal that from you.
An ask-hole. And I thought that is so great. So we're becoming ask-holes. So if you don't have the money to help out, either a place in your community that's making a difference, or if you live in Brevard County and you want to help out and you don't have any money, your time, your talent, all those things do make a difference, and they have a value. You have a value. And if you have money and you don't have the time, I'm sure you'll accept that too, right?
Yeah, and of course, we still have to pay our bills. We still have to do the things that we have to do. And I love the way you mentioned it like a business. You do have to have a mentality. We do have to live within our means and things like that. So proud to know that 10 cents on every dollar goes to the administration, but 90 cents on every dollar here goes directly back to a client service, direct client service. And that's a great number for an organization like this. So
that's one of the questions. That's one of the questions I always look into whenever, because there's a lot of nonprofit organizations that 12% maybe go to the people they're helping, or, and we have to be very careful too, that just because there's a kind heart involved doesn't mean that the organization is really doing what they say they're doing. So those are things we can check out. We can go onto the website, and of course it's sharingcenter.org, and you can check out, because the records are there for everybody to see.
Yeah, you can go on GuideStar as well. You can look at all our financials, our 990s, and if people want to look at numbers, but we're very transparent in regards to our financials here, and that's another thing that I'm very proud of with this organization. We just want to help, and we want to be the best stewards that we can, whether it's with the things that are given to us or the money that's donated to us. So it's really important that we make sure that people are comfortable with the organization. And then again, I will personally, and knowing this is going worldwide, I will personally give anyone who wants to contact me, and you can find my information on our website under the contact. I will personally give you that tour, or I'll have my staff, right? If I can't make it, but we'll give you a tour here. We'll spend time. I love telling our story. So
it is a great, and it was very touching to go through and see the people that were there. For whatever reason they were there, it wasn't about judgment. It was about they were there. And you know what? They build a sense of community too. they're not by themselves feeling
No.
alone.
Right.
So even just showing up and sitting there will make you feel good. So I just want to encourage people. And by the way, before we close the show today, normally we have lots of breaks, but we haven't taken any breaks today. But I do need to talk about my sponsors, if you don't mind, David. So I want to encourage you to go to whenyounneedafriend.com. I want to encourage you always to subscribe while you're there. Like me, follow me on Facebook. That way you know what's happening. And you can also follow me on whenyounneedafriend.com. Subscribe there on my YouTube channel. You can click on there. When you do that, the show gets sent to you. And that way you can watch it at your own discretion. But while you're there, I ask that you support my sponsors like, Keep Me Safe Organics. If you want to remove toxicity from your body, Keep Me Safe Organics is a sponsor of the Lillian McDermott radio show. The only makeup I use and body products that I use with Keep Me Safe Organics. And if you go to whenyounneedafriend.com, you get 10% off your entire purchase. And it's well worth it. Love them. And then we also have Liberty Health Share. My goodness, I love Liberty Health Share. They are, instead of insurance, this is where I go to when I want to practice my own informed choice and my freedom for my own health care. So they are a ministry that pays for our own expenses, and you can go to whenyounneedafriend.com, click on the Liberty Health Share button to learn more. First Alternative Care, for $35 a month for the entire household, you get medical and dermatology, if you need a prescription, and depending on how many of you there are, the price goes down. So if it's in an organization or if it's a group, it can go down as low as $15. We're looking at a group that has 100,000 members, and so we can bring it down. So the point is to have access to healthcare for a very affordable amount. And so in the pharmacy in Merritt Island, who doesn't love the pharmacy in Ross Clark? These are all examples of like-mindedness and people that are helping me build my community of like-minded people that feel responsible and accountable and want to change and live the life of their dreams. So this is a part of how we do it, is that we help one another, whether it's by liking or just showing up and saying, how can I support you? And I'm telling you, David, what the Sharing Center of Central Brevard, and I know that there are other locations that are they're making a difference too. What you guys are doing is you're bringing dignity. And we didn't even mention that you do the laundry, not you personally, but you have a group of people.
And showers.
Laundry, and they have showers there. How wonderful. I think it was Willie Baronet that said that he had given a pair of socks he would go there and he would give socks for people that were homeless. And he said there was nothing like a new pair of socks for, something as simple as that.
Sure.
How wonderful to live with that gratitude. Kind of gratitude. So before we close, let's talk about, is there anything that we haven't mentioned? I mean, we'll mention the cookout again, but is there anything that you would like to share or add before we close?
Well, Lillian, I did want to say thank you again for allowing me to be on your show today.
My pleasure.
I really enjoyed it. I laughed when we said, what are we, for an hour? Wow. And look how quick it went by. Yeah. So that just tells you how passionate we are about what we both do. And I can't express my thanks. Every day I meet someone who doesn't know who the Sharing Center is. And I often say, well, my job's not done. And I express the thanks for you helping us get the word out about this organization and how special it is. If I could just say anything, and we touched on it before, really, being both Rotarians, there's a saying, service above self, right?
Yeah.
And that's what drives me, is service above self. It's not about me. It's really about our community and what the good Lord's put me here to do. And so I would hope that this show will inspire someone, touch someone to go out and connect with their community and see what they can do in order to help support those in need. So really, thank you for this great avenue. And I appreciate it and really enjoyed it. So thank you so much.
Oh, and you're welcome. And again, although you know, I would hope that you guys have lots of veggies at the amateur backyard
Yeah.
barbecue contest.
Yes,
So
there is. In
oh,
fact,
awesome. But there's
we have corn on the cob this year. How about that?
oh,
So,
great. Okay, barbecue, beer, music. Just know that this is a way that we can connect. And just go. If you're in the
yeah.
Brevard County area, April 6th, there's something for you to do from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. There's music, there's what's most important is that there's people there that are making a difference. Because even if you think, well, what can I do? Well, one person can do a good thing.
Yeah.
But when we all combine our efforts, we can do amazing and impossible things. And so I want to thank you, David, for leading the realm, just like leading the pack through the Sharing Center of Central Brevard, and for making a difference in your community. And gosh, it is such a beautiful, beautiful thing to feel love, unconditional love. That is true unconditional love. And if you know that you can make a difference, what a great way to live. So thank you so much for what you and the center is doing. And just know that I am a friend, and that if there's anything that you guys need, I am here for you.
Lillian, thank you again. I really appreciate the opportunity. Have a great day.
Okay, and for those of you who are watching this video, please remember to like it, share it, especially if you live in Brevard County and you want to promote Sharing Center of Central Brevard and all the things that they're doing. And we could have talked for another hour about all the other services. So go to sharingcenter.org. That's sharingcenter.org. Or you can call, you already heard David, you can call 321-631-0306. I just want to make sure I had the 631 because I wrote it real quick when you said it.
And I will take me up on that tour, folks.
It is great. And if you're looking for a place, if you have money and you don't have the time, good place to invest. So please remember, we're all in it together. We're all one. And if we look at our similarities, we will find each other in each other's eyes. We will see each other looking back at each other. God looking back at us. And so this is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day
Every
ever.
day.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've got some love from Tracy. Oh, I didn't even know you guys were writing here. Tracy is from England. And so let's just do a little after hour here. Hey, Tracy, I didn't realize that you were on. Thank you so much. And she said, God bless you, David. That's very nice. She also said that you are, thank you. Oh, you're an admirable. Thank you so much. Yes, we don't mind. You don't mind if we go an extra hour? Easy for you.
My choir director might have something to say with that.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So from time to time, we're going to be doing this. And I'm just really excited that I get to have fun in my own backyard. So thank you again, David, for being part of the show. And I love all the hearts that we're getting. Make sure you share this with our community in Brevard County. Like us, share us, and let's help us grow the show. We'll see you soon. Say goodbye, David.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. And now we're saying goodbye to all of you on YouTube. Same goes for you. Please share this, and maybe you can do whatever it is that David is doing and the Sharing Center is doing in your community. We'll see you soon.